Brought to you by stationhousecoffee.com and inspireddisorder.com/ting.
What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.
The Last Dance, a documentary miniseries, just hit Netflix. It was previously only available through ESPN Plus, but I believe it's a joint partnership or production with Netflix. So finally showed up on the Netflix thing, and I binged the hell out of this thing. Finished it all in one day. Stayed up very late. I was up until the next morning. I think it's like 10 hours of documentary. And it is amazing. I myself was a huge Bulls fan. I was literally wearing my Jordan jersey that's all but worn away while watching it. But I was a huge Bulls fan during this time. I was playing basketball daily, playing pickup basketball daily during this time. I was in middle school, high school around this era of the Bulls and Michael Jordan's reign over the NBA. So I was, big fan of Michael Jordan, big fan of basketball back then. Kind of fell off watching basketball around the time when LeBron James got drafted, and like maybe a year or two after that, I kind of just fell off. But during this time, this era, I was a huge basketball fan and a huge Jordan fan. So watching this documentary series was amazing. Especially, it filled in a lot of blanks because I was a kid, so I didn't know the drama necessarily. And one of the aspects of this series shows the kind of rivalries that the Bulls had with these different teams over the years, and forced them, like the rivalry with the Pistons, forced them to work out a lot more and play a rougher game, or at least get used to playing a rougher game. So then when they got into a similar rivalry with New York, they were able to handle it because they knew what it was like to play with a team that played rough, I guess you could say. But yeah, it really filled in a lot. It was very interesting seeing a lot of the backstory. Also just seeing Jordan. So the way this documentary series, the storytelling in this documentary series was told is amazing. It was amazing. Basically, it focuses on the final season of the second three-peat of the Bulls, when it's, a lot of things are up in the air. The team wants to get rid of, the organization, I should say, wants to get rid of Phil Jackson, the head coach. Michael Jordan refusing to play for any other coach. So it was also his potential, retirement. The franchise, they wanted to rebuild the team. As if it were that easy to just build another successful dynasty. So it takes the drama of that final season, and then it flashes back to tell the kind of story of Michael Jordan and a lot of the other teammates on how they got to that final season and the ride. You want to talk about Michael Jordan. It's crazy that there's even that much of a discussion of the best of all time, the greatest of all time, to see what Michael Jordan did with his team and to see how he not only got the first three-peat, the first 3 championships back to back to back, but also to leave the sport, play baseball, which if he stayed with baseball, he could have been a decent baseball player, but then decided to go back to basketball. And when he went back, was able to, they brought in a very needed piece with Dennis Rodman, but he was able to bring that team back to championship ways. And he was like the dictator manager of that team. He forced everybody when they were getting beat up by the Pistons. He encouraged everybody to start lifting weights. He evolved the Bulls franchise when he showed up. And just, I think how the NBA ran when Jordan was first drafted was crazy. They weren't really athletes. They were, but they weren't training and practicing and living as if they were elite athletes. They were just, it's kind of like semi-pro in a lot of ways. They were drinking and doing drugs and just hanging out and just not really focused on getting better necessarily. And through the years of after Jordan got there and started to get better and started to take over, and then once they finally started winning championships, he took it to another gear and he forced everybody to lift their game up and do more and be more. And in that, I could see how he would be an asshole. A lot of people would think that he's an asshole, but without him being an asshole, then they wouldn't have been the Bulls franchise that they were. And also just getting to see the interviews with Michael Jordan and him discussing things and his different problems with different players over the years, but also just how much he cared. Like, he just cared about the sport so much. So it's amazing. The storytelling's amazing. You get to see like the backstory of not only Jordan, but you get to see so many players. You get to see Phil Jackson's kind of backstory. You get to see Scottie Pippen's story. How Scottie Pippen was like one of the lowest paid players in the league for so much. Like, he signed this ridiculously long contract that just made him. Like, he signed this contract before the NBA got to, like, started raking in the money. So when they did, he was fucked. He was just screwed because he had this like 7-year contract where he was just not getting paid what he should have been getting paid, considering how amazing he was for that team. And then also Rodman. You get to see Rodman's kind of, I mean, the crazy thing is you get to see Rodman when he played for the Pistons, and they were the big rivals of the Bulls. And then you see, 2-3 years later, after Jordan comes back, and they need to fill in that spot. They need to fill in, that spot to get the rebounds and just to kind of be that bulldog to just kind of bully his way into getting. I mean, Dennis Rodman would sacrifice his body to complete plays. He was like the most like flailing, unorthodox player, but like would give everything to get the play done and to get the ball back. It was amazing. It was so awesome to see that second team of the Bulls and how they just were able to do all of the things. Yeah, it's amazing. And then you get to see the whole flu game, which ended up being actually he was food poisoned from this pizza joint in Utah. I remember watching that game live and just like that was like his second run. The second three-peat was during, I think, my last 3 years in high school, which I was playing basketball, and I was an art nerd in high school. I would have my portfolio of artwork under one arm, and I would have my basketball under another arm. And every lunch, and I think before class started, we would be playing pickup basketball, me and my friends. And it was just one of those. It was a crazy kind of weird, kind of crazy that was my life in high school. But yeah, so. The series means it like brought back all that nostalgia, all those crazy times of my life back then, and it's a crazy story also because Jordan was not only like the best basketball player in my opinion to ever play the game, and I think that LeBron and Kobe Kobe had a similar thing where he became kind of the leader of the team. In some ways, he was kind of a whiny little bitch a lot of the times. Rest in peace. But or even LeBron James kind of doing a similar thing. I don't know how much of like a drill sergeant leader he is when he goes to a team, but he's definitely has the ability to elevate a team to become a champion. But Jordan, not only being the best, he's one of the few people who are the best at their sport to basically leave at the top of his game. Even though he came back and he was getting a little older, he's taking a lot less driving to the hole, a lot more, jump shots from far out, but he was still winning championships. and then he was in a lot of ways forced to retire, and how heartbreaking that is to him that he wasn't able to play one more season, just bring the team back and see how many championships they can win with that team. But they had a long-standing problem with the manager, the owner. I think he's the general manager of the Bulls, who was able to put that team together in the first place, but then, ultimately destroyed it, for trying to do too much. Just so amazing. It's also cool to see Jordan's relationship with his dad, and then after his dad passed, how he had that relationship with one of the security guard guys, one of his security detail. Just an overall amazing documentary. I highly recommend it. Whether you're into basketball or not, it's just a well-told story, a one-of-a-kind story that you're never going to see. That kind of what they were able to do, what those teams were able to do. Highly recommend it. It's on Netflix now. The Last Dance. Make sure you support our sponsor, stationhousecoffee.com, and follow Station House Coffee on Instagram, and order yourself some small batch, single origin, premium coffee brewed in Thetford Center, Vermont, shipped directly to you. Help support small business and get yourself some amazing coffee. At the same time, go over to stationhousecoffee.com and order your coffee today. Also, if you're looking for new cell phone service, you're not looking to spend an arm and a leg, go over to inspireddisorder.com/ting and get yourself some new cell phone service and $25 in credit when you go through my link, inspireddisorder.com/ting. New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on IGTV, YouTube, and everywhere else podcasts are found. Binge the full week ad-free over at patreon.com/inspireddisorder. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com and follow the show on Instagram at Ray Taylor Show. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!